Unit 1, Lesson 8. This is for Tuesday, September 3rd. Our major clusters that we're going after in this unit, and specifically today, measuring and estimating lengths in standard units. Today we get to go after inches and relating addition and subtraction to length. Great, and our standard today is 2.md.1. Measure the length of an object by selecting the appropriate tools such as rulers, yardsticks, meter sticks, and measuring tape, and then attending to precision. This is to be able to get as close as possible, SMP 6. This is the tool that I have to use today because I left my ruler at school. Students will be able to measure a given length or distance using copies of a unit, inch tiles. I'm gonna use this because all my stuff is behind my desk at work. In previous lessons, scholars worked to measure items and lines using centimeter cubes and centimeter rulers. In this lesson, students will use their knowledge of measurement strategies to measure objects using a new unit, inch tiles. Students find the total number of unit lengths by laying multiple copies of inch tiles, physical units, end to end along a various object. What's new or hard about this? It's challenging for two reasons. One, again, like before, no gaps or overlaps. We measure from endpoint to endpoint. They might not be accurate with that, and they're using a different unit, so they might forget the label. You've been in centimeters, we got to move to inches. Big what key points. Inches are a measurement unit that we can use to describe an object's length. It's like the same takeaway with centimeters. And in order to be accurate, number one, no gaps or overlaps. We measure the longest part. We go endpoint to endpoint. And when we're done, we record how many units in inches. These are literally steps. So 1, longest part. 2, endpoint to endpoint. 3, no gaps or overlaps. 4, record it down. It's all right there. Great, and then make sure that you're building in that discussion time for kiddos. I can't wait to get into your class soon. And there's no visual anchor provided. That's great. There is a CFS for the written response, which is fantastic because if you guys were worried about your outcomes from last week on the quiz for the written response, this is where we can start to build that. I'm going to build out the visual anchor as we go. This is not it. It's not a visual anchor. Those are some words on a page. That is the game, not a visual anchor. So let's actually just go all the way. Here, your game today is step 1, measure. Step 2, record. Sure, use this, make it better. It's pretty horrific. And I will show you my visual anchor after we do this. So step 1, I'm going to use inch tiles, where first I identify what's my longest part. My longest part is from tip to tip of this, or tip to eraser of the pencil. Then I go endpoint to endpoint. My go-to move is always to put these lines down as an adult because it helps me. Measure the longest part, line up endpoint to endpoint. I sometimes do endpoint 1, endpoint 2. It's not that important. And then starting to stack my tiles. For the sake of making sure I have some accurate answers, I'm going to use the tape measure just to give me an answer today. But I'm going to also model for you how to do this. So this guy is 5 inches long. I'll label it inches. And what I'm going to do is I would take inch tiles and without any gaps or overlaps. Obviously, my inch tiles are not accurate because I'm about to get like 7. But leaving no gaps or overlaps and a unit label. Please make sure that you're not iterating units. I know that it's nice to be able to put a unit down, mark and measure, mark, measure, move, mark, measure, move. This is not mark, measure, move. This is repeated iterations. Sorry, this is you laying down multiple inch tiles. So you literally need to have a ton of inch tiles for your kids, especially the larger the object gets, the more inch tiles they're going to need. That's the size of an actual inch tile. Biggest misconception that I can see happening today is counting the lines rather than the units is one of the biggest issues that kids have. They probably will not do that today. If they're doing that, it's because you did not properly stabilize their understanding with the centimeter tiles. And so understanding each unit shows a value, and we have to recognize the value of that.